Well, good evening. We want to welcome you to In the Blender
Good
with
evening.
Brandon and Madeline Hyman. I tell you, we are just so excited to be with you guys on this evening. I tell you, we're going to have an awesome time on tonight. It's just going to be so impactful, so enlightening. I tell you, you don't want to miss it. If you didn't see last week's episode, because this is going to be a part two, a continuation of last week, you want to make sure that you go to our In the Blender Facebook page or our regular Facebook page and look it up. I think it's on YouTube as well, isn't it, sweetheart?
Yes.
Or you can also go to YouTube In the Blender, and the episode will be up there as well. And so we shared some things on last week that was just so awesome. I tell you, people have been hitting us up, chiming in, asking questions, giving viewpoints, and it's just been phenomenal. And so we want to encourage you guys again, if you missed last week's episode, go to our In the Blender Facebook page or our regular Facebook page, and you can view last week's episode. This again is going to be part two, a continuation of last week. And we talked about Before the Storm. This is an awesome read. I want to encourage all of you guys to get this book. This is Before the Storm. It's a trilogy: Before the Storm, During the Storm, and After the Storm. Our pastor apostle Michael A. Freeman wrote this book, and I tell you, it's just phenomenal. There's some things that are shared. We're going to take some highlights from the book and share with you guys on this evening, but every family needs this. There are some things when we first started doing In the Blender, we talked about resources that were available to those in the blended family. And while there may not be a lot of books written specifically for the blended family, there's a lot of material that's out there that you as a blended family, and even the traditional family, you can put into your library. And I'm telling you, it's going to take your family dynamic, your family relationship to a whole nother level, a whole nother dimension. And I'll tell you, it's just awesome. We love the book, so we're sharing it with you guys because we've been talking to a lot of people lately. Well, I guess over the last 20 plus years we've been married, and we've just been dealing with folks that have been just going through so many different storms in their relationship and in their marriage and in their blended family. And so this book, Before the Storm, is something that you need because there's some things that you need to know. Understand this, guys. Every one of us has an evil day appointed to us. What do you mean? Every one of us is going to have some things that we're going to go through. That's what we mean when we say evil day. Everybody's going to go through some type of test, some type of trial, some type of tribulation, some type of temptation. I don't care who you are. I don't care how great a relationship you think you have or you may even have. There's some things that you're going to go through. We have an awesome relationship, but believe me, you, or believe you, me, or whatever way that saying goes, believe me, there are some things that we dealt with and that we went through that if we weren't rooted and grounded in the Word of God, if we weren't rooted and grounded in our faith, in our relationship, in each other, the storms would have blew us away, would have destroyed us. There were some things in the natural that really, when we look back on it, we wonder, how are we still here? How do we make it? How do we survive this thing? And so this book, again, I'm going to show you guys this book because I want you to order this on Amazon. Before the Storm, Pre-Storm Strategies. There's some strategies that you're going to get from this book that if you make them applicable to your everyday living, to your life, to your family, it's going to catapult you guys. It's going to take you to a whole nother level, a whole nother dimension in faith. And so last week we talked about in life there will be storms. So we talked about that, and storms in your life. We talked about after the storm hits, how it's not really the time when you can be building. You ever see pictures on the news when they're showing when the tornadoes and the hurricanes hit? You never see people building their home during that time. Most times they've already battered down their houses, or they even left the house because they knew once that storm hit, It was going to be devastating. Well, too many times, sweetheart, I'm finding out that people haven't battened down the hatches. They haven't put up the proper things to sustain that house or to safeguard that house. So when that storm now hits, guess what? It's turned the whole roof off. You ever see pictures after a tornado, after a hurricane? And I'm talking about the whole house is just, or the foundation of the house is there, but the roof is gone. Well, guess what? These pre-storm strategies that's located in this book is going to equip you guys for the necessary essential tools you're going to need. So when that storm hits, your house is going to stand. It's going to withstand. It's going to withstand every test, every trial, every storm that's going to come up against it. And then we talked about many get in trouble because they were not listening or paying attention. Guess what? There are warning signs that are coming. There's always warning before judgment. There's always warning signs before. Very seldom I found that a storm will come without any warning signs. Very seldom. But when you understand conditions and when you're sensitive to conditions, even then you'll know that storm is coming. Those that have Indian heritage are real good at that. There are certain things that those that have the Indian heritage, they know about storms. They know how the air smells. They know how the wind blows. They know how the sun shines. They listen to the earth. And the earth will sometimes tell them, guess what? There's a storm on the horizon. What I'm finding out, guys, there's some things that we deal with every day. There's some things that we see every day, we experience every day, that's going to let you know that the storm is coming. But it's going to be up to you. Let me say that again. It's going to be up to you to be sensitive to those signs. It's just like riding down the street. Guess what? Eventually, if you're going down the street, there's a sign that's going to tell you to go, to slow down, or to stop. If you don't pay attention to those signs, consequently, you might have an accident. You ever see somebody shoot through a light and you know that light was already red at least 5 seconds before they hit that intersection? Well, guess what? 9 times out of 10, that individual wasn't paying attention. Or they can be super courageous and think they can beat the light and find themselves in that predicament. Or they can just not care enough and shoot straight through that light. Well, guess what? Those 3 scenarios are what I'm finding out that a lot of people are going through. Some people see the light, some people see the signs, and they stop. Others see the sign or see the changing of the sign and think that they can beat it before it hits them. Then there are those who aren't paying attention at all and they just run straight through it. But then lastly, there's that individual who clearly sees those signs, clearly see them. And you take it upon yourself, you're going to go through that thing anyway. I shared with you guys on last week, there was a sign I got 20 plus years ago that I shouldn't have went through. But I went through it, and then I had to go through some things for about 19 years because I didn't heed to that sign. And so we want to encourage you guys, pay attention to the signs because they're there to help you. And then we talked about anything that is not in order is out of order. And God is not obligated to participate. Okay. Too many times, again, we're finding out that there's some things, hey, Tawana, how you doing? There's some things that, guess what? It's out of order. And you know it's out of order. And you want to continue to go on with it. You want to continue to function with it. And then you want to hold God responsible for fixing it. When all along, he already told you to deal with that situation. But you won't deal with it. And then we talked about the emergency broadcast system. And that my man, hey, Sean. And that was my man, Chief. He chimed in on that emergency broadcast system. Because there's an alert that comes out ever so often that let us know that there's a storm coming. You ever been in the midst of watching a program, especially a good program you've been waiting to see? It could be the game. It could be a drama. It could be a movie, whatever. And all of a sudden, this interruption comes on. Mm-hmm. And that's the emergency broadcast system letting you know that there's something on the horizon. Well, guess what? Just like that emergency broadcast system, God gives us those type of warnings. And they're loud and they're annoying because they're designed to get your attention. But unfortunately, oh my God, unfortunately, sweetheart, many of us have been desensitized to those sounds. Mm-hmm. Many of us been desensitized to those sounds because we've been so disobedient and so rebellious and so stuck in our ways of doing things that when we hear those sounds, we ignore them. You ever talk to somebody or a young lady, and ladies, no offense, but you hear it a lot said, I keep choosing the wrong type of man. Well, guess what? Those are signs that are going off. There are horns, sirens that are going off that are telling you that, hey, he's not the right one for you. Pay attention to that. Did you see how he said that? Did you see how he did that? Did you see his response to how when you did this, you see his response to that? Did you see how he talked to your kids? Did you see this? All these signs are going off and they're clear signs. But because you become desensitized to it, you ignore those signs and now you're in a situation that you find yourself miserable in. The same way, guys, there are things that, especially in this blended family dynamic, there are signs, there are sirens that are going off. I remember there was an issue that we had as far as discipline. And there was a sign that went off. But guess what? Big bad me ignored that sign. There was a siren that went off and I ignored that siren. And guess what? Consequently, all hell broke loose in the house. I mean, that thing was horrible. It was terrible. It was almost unmentionable, the things that went on because I ignored that sign. It was almost devastating. I literally almost lost my entire family because I ignored the sirens. I ignored the horn. I ignored the sound that was sent to stop me from moving. And so, guys, just like the emergency broadcast system, guess what? There are sounds that are going off to warn you to stop. However, in life, most storms are not preceded by interruptions. And see, that's the thing that you got to be sensitive to. Because in life, you may not get these sirens. Again, I said there are some, but in reality, in life, you might not even get them. You may go through a situation and you don't even get a sign to let you know. I know there's some people they in relationship where they didn't even see this joker like that. Guess what? Especially when you go into a relationship, everybody has their best foot forward. Everybody has their best foot forward. I remember when we first got together, I had my best foot forward. Oh my God. I didn't have a lick of money, but I knew how to roll them ones up and make that knot look fat. Guess what? When she found out, boy, you got to bring that money up. Hey, I had to bring that money up, but I put my best foot forward. And too many times, baby, people are putting their best foot forward or their fake foot forward. Because a lot of times what you're seeing isn't the real person. I know there's one individual we talked to, and he said when he counsels people, he always tells them, start an argument. If you want to know that person's response, and we're not telling you start an argument, I'm just telling you something that was shared. He said, start an argument. Because he said sometimes when before you get married and you get into that heated discussion, you'll find the real person. Because most people will let you go with things or let things pass while you're in that dating situation. We knew a couple that the husband, he will always let the wife choose whatever. She didn't know that there were some issues that he had, but that's what he would do. And so by the time she found out about the issues, they were already married. And so it was so frustrating to her throughout that marriage because she didn't know what she was dealing with. Too many times we're finding out people don't even know what they're really dealing with. You're in a situation and you don't know what's going on. And now when this storm hits, you find out that guess what? This person don't know how to handle money. This person don't know how to handle. You ever been in a situation where a person can't handle stress? That's a hard situation to be with. Too many marriages, sweetheart, are finding out they can't handle stress. Either the husband can't handle stress or the wife can't handle stress. And so when that storm comes and that stress begins to build, now they find themselves always fighting with each other. The time when you guys should be uniting, the time when you guys should be coming together, you should be interceding one for another, now you are your worst enemies. Now you're fighting against each other instead of being unified. And so we talked about that. But tonight we want to talk about the essentials that are needed before the storm. There are some essential things that are needed before the storm comes. Let me say that again. There are some essential things that are needed before the storm comes. The first and one I would say one of the most important things is prayer. Prayer is, let me tell you something, guys. You have to prepare with prayer. You have to prepare with prayer because prayer is going to give you insight. Prayer is going to give you revelation. Prayer is going to give you understanding. Prayer is going to give you sensitivity. Prayer is going to equip you so when that storm comes, you know how to navigate that thing. And so prayer is essential. Spend time alone with God, guys. Listen, it's important to spend time alone with God. We do it. We've always done it. And we do it even more now. Have to spend that time just in conversation, just in listening. And spending time with God isn't always you talking, but asking him what it is that he wants you to do. What should you be doing to build your family? What should you be doing to build your husband, to build your wife, to build your children, to build your finance, to build your business, to prepare yourself so when that storm comes, you won't be all over the place. Too many times when that storm comes and we don't have that one-on-one relationship, we aren't spending that one-on-one time with God, we all over the place because there's no direction. There's nothing that's leading us and navigating us and directing us in the way we should go. And so it's important, guys, to spend that time alone with God. Don't make a major move without God. Let me say that again. Don't make a major move without God. I was famous for making major moves without God. And guess what I found out? A lot of times God sounded just like my wife. See how she just did that? She said, yes, sir. I found out a lot of times God sounded just like my wife. Because I was making major moves, but I wasn't inquiring her. I wasn't inquiring what she thought about it. I didn't inquire how she felt about that situation. I just took it upon myself. This is what I thought I wanted to do. This is what I thought I should do. And I made a move and I didn't even inquire. And consequently, I was making a mess of things. Things were blowing up in my face. And in times when I would, watch this, then there were times when I would share it with her. And she would say, I don't think that's a good idea. Or don't do it, and then I'll do it anyway. And then when it blow up, now I got to go back to her and say, you was right. But if I would have spent that quality time just listening, trusting her as my helpmeet, trusting her as the person that's there to assist me, to make sure that everything is going all right. Why are you tapping your fingers like that? I must be talking some good talk right now. I'll tap your fingers. No, but if I would have taken that time to really listen to her voice, listen to what it was she had to say, a lot of dumb things that I did, I wouldn't have done. Taking jobs I shouldn't have done. Making moves I shouldn't have done. Connecting with individuals I shouldn't have connected with. And so pre-storm strategies will equip you guys with the ability to hear, and then not only to hear, but to follow out those instructions. Because it's not just good to hear. it's good to hear, but it's not just good enough to hear. Let me say it that way. Because many people hear, but then there's an application after you hearing that's essential and important. I heard what she said, but I didn't apply what she said. Let me say it again. I heard what she said, but I didn't apply what she said. So now when she was telling me I shouldn't do this, and I did it anyway, she wasn't obligated to get with me. She could have been selfish and say, you deal with it. You didn't want to listen to what I had to say. Thank God she's not that type of person. And unfortunately, some of you guys are dealing with the individual that's like that. That they feel like you made the decision, you made the choice, and it's not an us thing, it's a you thing. But that's why we want to share with you guys these strategies and these essentials so that you don't even put yourself in those positions. It's nothing but by the grace of God that we've made it this far based upon my decisions. I'm not even going to talk about her decisions because I can only talk about mine. But based upon my choices, my decisions.
That's because you made all the dumb decisions and choices. I ain't making no dumb ones.
Really?
You made them.
Really?
So keep going. Talk about you, right?
Wow. Put a pin in there. Put a pin right there.
Well, nope, I ain't coming back to it. I already said what I had to say. Keep going.
And so don't make a major move without God. Stay in consistent communication with him. Stay in consistent communication with him. Yeah, Tawana.
No,
That's funny,
no.
Tawana. Don't you agree with it, but you can laugh with it, but don't agree with it. Listen, declare victory. The second essential thing that you need is to know how to declare victory. Declare what you want to see. Declare it. Using scriptural references, because there's power in the word. If you want to see things change, you got to declare it. You got to decree it. You got to proclaim it. Always speak positive, and that is what you'll have. Always speak positive. I don't care what it looks like. Always speak positive. And this is important, guys. And I'm going to tell you why this is important. And I hope I'm not going ahead of myself because I can pick back up. But it's important because many of us grew up in homes where we didn't hear positivity. I thank God I had a mother that wouldn't allow me to be in a situation where positivity wasn't spoken over my life. A lot of you guys heard me talk about being born crippled. Well, guess what? The doctor said I would never walk naturally. The doctor said I would always have to walk with those Forrest Gump braces. You guys remember the movie Forrest Gump? Those those metal braces that he wore all the way up his legs with the hard shoes that you clamp the braces in. Well, guess what? Your boy had to wear those when he was a baby, when he was a young child. But my mother will always decree that I'm healed. She will always decree that I can. Don't be laughing at me and my brace. What's wrong with you? See, I ain't sensitive about that. But she would decree that though. She would decree, and watch this, every month she would take me to Shriners Hospital. You guys know what Shriners in Charlottesville, Virginia. She would take, don't you laugh, Keisha. She would take me to Shriners with my Forrest Gump braces on my legs and them hard shoes, them hard wooden heel shoes. And she would say, you're healed. You're natural. You're normal. I don't care what this looks like. I don't care what it feels like. You just like all the other kids. And guess what? I took that thing, I put that thing on. I put it on so much so that when she would leave, I would take them off. And although I couldn't walk straight, I would still walk around the house. So eventually, I began to walk normal. Now watch this, guys. I got that thing so much on me now that a lot of you guys think it's swag, but most people don't know my legs twisted. Don't you laugh at me, girl. You better watch it. You better watch it. Because many people think I'm pimping, sweetheart. They think like, why every time I see you pimping like that? I'm not pimping. It's not the swag game going on. It's because my legs are twisted. But because I refuse to receive that report, I only want to decree and declare what it was I wanted. I began to walk normal and natural just like everybody else. So much so that even in high school, I was squatting more than anybody on my football team. My legs were so strong.
Pastor Darrell said, yeah, I thought it was.
Okay.
Pastor Darrell.
Hey, little bikini man, watch it. And so, but my legs were so strong that even in high school, I squatted more than anybody on the football team. Because I wanted to prove not only to myself, but to the naysayers that I can have what it is that I wanted. And the same principles, because many of you have had those type of faith episodes. That's the same way you got to decree. I don't care how your marriage looks. I don't care how your relationship looks right now. You got to decree what it is you want. You have to speak over that thing. Our marriage is well. Our family is well. My children are saved. They're delivered. They're on top. We're on top. Nothing missing, nothing lacking, nothing wanting. But you have to declare victory. We're overcomers. This won't work. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. That's why the word is so important. It's so important because without any foundational truths, there's nothing that you can decree. Because again, like Pastor Darrell just said, death and life is in the power of the tongue. Many of you guys are eating fruit because of bad declarations. What do you mean by that? We can't get along. We never say we can't get along, because guess what? We get along. You make me sick. I can't stand you. You get on my nerves. Well, guess what? You've already declared defeat. You already declared that you've lost. So now you're wondering why when that storm hits, you can't get along. When that storm hits, you feel like you be low. When that storm hits, you feel like you're the tail and not the head. When that storm hits, you feel like you're beneath and not above. Guess what? Because you decreed those things. You declared those things. If you want the victory, you got to learn how to declare the victory. Yep. I always say we multi-millionaires. God is raising up people that will use their power, their ability, and their influence on our behalf. Even creditors are working on my behalf. I receive debt cancellation and debt reduction. Those are the things you have to declare. So when that storm comes, guess what? It's already taken care of. Quick story. We were in a car accident. Oh my God, this time is going. We were in a car accident years ago, and we had about $17,000 worth of negative equity on the car.
No, damage.
Damage to the car. It was damage to the car. And so they didn't want to get us out the car. But we went in that thing declaring that we got the victory, that we're going to get favor. I don't care what happens. They're going to do exactly what we want to do. Not only did we get what we wanted, but we got above what we went in there to get. And so you have to declare victory, man. I'm telling you, I don't care what it looks like. You got to learn how to declare the victory in that relationship. If your child acting up, my mother was the first one saved. She had a drug dealer husband and a drug dealer son. And she decreed and declared that her whole household was delivered. And guess what, guys? Her son walked in and her husband walked in. But if she would have looked at what she was dealing with, if she would have looked at what she was facing, because that's what many people are doing. You're speaking what you're dealing with. Don't speak what you're dealing with. Speak what you want. Because I got the victory. That's right, Tawana. I got the victory. She knew she had the victory regardless of what was going on. She had the victory so much so, I remember when I went up to go see her, I didn't want to be around her because I didn't even want that life. I stayed away from her. Hey, Lorraine, how's everything? And I'm going to tell you guys something. When I got with her, it was a matter of days when my life changed. What she declared, she received. And I'm sharing that because there are many parents right now, especially in this blended family dynamic, because there's so many things going on, and you're looking at your children, and they may seem all over the place. They may seem like things are just not going the way you really want them to go. They're not receiving the marriage. They're not receiving the relationship. They're not receiving the other parent, the spouse. And so, but you got to declare that we're whole. You got to declare, we went into this thing, I was a mess. My girls didn't like me. They loved me, but they didn't like me. They didn't want to be around me. But guess what? That's not our report today.
Absolutely.
That's not our report today. Why? Because I declare what I wanted out of that family. I declared what I was looking for. Listen, guys, oh my God, we got so much to share with you guys. This thing is awesome. Listen, we talked about Before the Storm Part 2. There's some pre-storm strategy, guys. We're going to pick back up this. I guess next week is going to be Part 3. We're going to pick back up on this because we got a lot more to share with you guys. But we pray that what we share has been enlightening. It has been impactful, that you can take it with you guys. You can run with it. You can see transformation in your home. Sweetheart, how can they reach us?
Email us at weareablendedfamily@gmail.com.
Listen, if you have any questions, any comments, email us. weareablendedfamily@gmail.com. Also, what is our webpage?
www.intheblenderministries.com.
Give it to them one more time.
intheblenderministries.com.
intheblenderministries.com. Listen, guys, also, we want to encourage you guys on Thursdays. We're on what, sweetheart?
WJMS Radio, 8P to 9P.
Yeah, so you guys can go on it on the internet. You guys can get that. You can tune into us. We're on for 1 hour, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. You don't want to miss it. Listen, guys.
Thank you for watching, Shanika.
Yes, we love you guys. We thank you so much
Thanks,
for tuning in to us.
everyone.
And until next week, bye-bye.
Bye, guys.